Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy Thursday night to join me. I really appreciate that. It's a little late for me to say that I hope I'm interrupting you, but the later that it gets, kind of the weird part of me wants to interrupt you more, right? Because you might be asleep. You might try to make a move on your partner. I mean, how awkward is that? You're like trying to make that move. You just put the kids to sleep, and there goes your notifications. I like it. I really, really like it. And I hope that you guys are well. And I'm always just joking. Just for the record, I am a joke. I am here for your entertainment. This is something that I really take pride in. I love doing this. And it's something that I really feel like will be a reason to have for celebration come January 1st, 2025. And then moving on to my larger goal, which is to be a more well rounded, established, stable, and just better person come 2026. For different reasons, of course. But regardless, I feel like I really need to get my life together before I'm 40. I feel like that. I feel like I'm a master procrastinator. And I feel like it's been to my detriment, but it's also offered me some kinds of success in life. And we all kind of make our own circumstances if we are, in fact, privileged to do those things and recognize them, of course. So tonight, I do want to talk to you about that very recognition of privilege as it concerns something really simple. And, tonight we've talked about pajamas. Tonight we've talked about guilty media pleasures. And I find that as health conscious as I am, right, I feel like there's a direct trade off with my health conscious attitude, with my consumption in food, and its trade off for wanting to appease my brain on the satisfactory level of snacking. So, I'm just describing snacking, right? And what I'm saying is that, like, lately I've noticed it more than not because I think I'm getting older. And while I've always been health conscious, right? Always. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it, or it may not, and I'm just roasting myself, but I do, at some points in my life, I've gone through great lengths to make sure that whatever I put in my body isn't knowingly like something that is toxic. Now, I'm also a hypocrite because I've also been a smoker. I'm not a drinker, but I have, consumed drink as it is called here in America before. But like, so it's weird. We're all kind of hypocritical on our own level. But as far as food goes, I've always been a victim of like knowing too much, I'd say, just in general. I've been quote unquote woke my whole life. I mean, woke is like people take that word to the extreme in that it's being like kind of like a bad thing, but honestly, knowing the truth isn't that, you know, revealing. It's not that big of a revelation to a lot of people. And in fact, we kind of talked about this, I think, last night in our video about how people voluntarily sort of pretend to be unknowing on something so that they can like make decisions they wouldn't other normally make and stuff. And I forget, it's terrible. I really sometimes wish I do or I did wish that I had this kind of thing scripted. And as just anyways, snacks are interesting. And the relationship with food, right? All of what I've said, I think I can tie in, and I think it'd make more sense if I think I could, ask you to relate with your relationship with food as it concerns, like, I mean, some of us are a little bit more paranoid than others, I'd say. But yes, I would almost say that I've been paranoid about processed foods, ultra processed foods, high fructose corn sugar, or high fructose corn syrup, low fat, the removal of trans fat. Like, I mean, I've been pretty just like open about the subject for a long, long, long time. Since like I was in grade school, right? Like I refused to drink things with high fructose corn syrup like in second grade. Like I mean this is true stuff. And so I say this because now I feel like it's just a conscious trade-off I make. So when I go to the local grocery store and I buy a bag of Oreos, I'm like, okay, Like this is like arguably some at some point, like really bad for you. Like they're like it's not even real food. This isn't even a real cookie. Like I mean, I don't what is an Oreo? I don't know. Do you know? I mean, does anybody know? There's probably a real simple explanation. I understand there's ingredients on the back of the package, but do people make homemade Oreos? I know I've made homemade chocolate chip cookies, anyways, when I buy a package of Oreos, I consciously understand that I am buying a treat. Like, this is something that my brain wants, but my body doesn't. And that's interesting, right? That, like, my brain is able to make deals with my body. It's sort of like, hey, listen, I understand that what you're getting, this isn't rational. This isn't real food. I mean, you're better off, like, just eat a tomato. I mean, I don't know, something, right? Because it's real. It's not ultra processed. Now, again, foods fall into various different categories. There's levels of processing. There's ultra processed, there's ultra processed. There's many ways that food is processed into the kind of product that it then becomes when you buy it or I buy it down at the grocery store. But again, I just think it's weird how I'm getting older and now I've had to bring that down in its most basic sense to myself in order for my continued justification of what otherwise is a non-justifiable decision to allow happen. You know what I mean? And again, it's weird and I joke about it, but it's interesting that literally I almost feel like the brain, in its quest for dopamine and wanting to get that quick little fix of feeling great about itself, is willing to put up with some kind of discomfort in the capsule that it's encapsulated in. I just think that that's weird, right? That isn't that weird? Like, should we not have to make these decisions? Like, when I seek out snacks, doesn't my body and my brain should be like on the same level of understanding that whatever snack it is should be treated as like a mutually beneficial kind of a situation for both the brain and the body. You feel me? But like instead it's this conscious debate about, how often it is okay for me to consume a package of Chips Ahoy. I mean, seriously. I know sometimes I take these things and these conversations and these thoughts to a new kind of low, right? But then, I mean, look who you're listening to, first of all. I mean, I'm like the champion of lows, and this is okay. I'm fine with that. I'd much rather be the underachiever of the century than anything close to actually getting anything done as it concerns my own personal life. Like, I'm not really interested in my own personal growth as a person, right? I mean, other than being a better person, but I mean, I don't feel like a lot of my opinions are going to change in life. I mean, I don't think I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, hey, Oreos are good for me. Like, I'm going to go reward my body and my mind with the purchase of some Oreos. I don't think, and I think if that happened, I don't know. I mean, somebody may need to study that. That may not be as appropriate as it would be to just like remain consistent, and constant, and just work with what you know and do with what like you love and you're comfortable doing and so forth. And just so happens that I'm shamelessly comfortable roasting myself at least 4 times a night for your pleasure here on YouTube. And so, yeah, regardless, I'm interested with my relationship with food and how long my body's gonna put up with the actual loan shark pandering that my brain is soliciting. Seriously, like I'm wondering, like how long will my body allow for this? And at some point, I really feel like my body is gonna be like, all right, here, listen, we've been having these discussions for a long time now, and just like I feel like this was a conversation that happened between my body and sugar, right? And like I mean, seriously, I battle with sugar. Sugar is one of those things, right? Like I'm anti like high amounts of sugar. I think we all deserve a little bit of sugar. It's a really cheap product that's commercially available that can offer some kind of sustenance as well as pleasure to a world that otherwise might not be offered these very simple pleasures and things in life, right? Like sugar. So I don't think we should exploit people and make them diabetic and like overly have diets that have all these crazy amounts of sugar. But regardless, like my relationship with sugar is love and hate, right? Like I feel so happy when I haven't consumed a single gram of sugar in a couple weeks, and then wouldn't you know, I'm at the grocery store and I see that sexy can of red, right? And I'm like, oh man, here you go again. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter that my body is so happy and that my brain is content with not having any sugar. It's like it's still like, all right, like this is why we don't spend time around our ex partners. Like it's the temptation. You feel me? That's actually a moment. I don't know if that can be mathematically described as such, but like I'm more than certain that if momentum and movement, I would say that that's definitely within the confines of being able to be described mathematically speaking. Temptation, right? The thought that again in every which way logically possibly speaking both your mind and your body are completely content, but there's an underlying subconscious need and desire to get that red can and to put it in your body and then to justify why you're doing it, right? It's like why are you doing that? Like, oh, okay, you're doing that because you're rewarding yourself, because like it is like it gets into this whole thing, right? And then it's out of your body or whatever, and then at some point your body gets, it's just snacking. What an interesting concept in the 21st century here in the United States of America. I grew up reading dystopian, Orwellian, back kind of science fiction novels before people thought it was like a cool thing. I mean, no, this is a true story. And sometimes I feel like I'm one of those commentators from like the Anthem or Brave New World. And I'm just like talking and I'm like, wait a second. I know that this is similar to some real dystopian kind of lead-ins into some other weird, cringe kind of things that happen when governments have too much power and they are left unchecked and unregulated. And again, it's never the government; it's always the people that run that government, right? It's all what it always is. People are always to blame, right? So let's not lay blame where it doesn't belong. It, in fact, is our fault. The problems that we create are our faults. So by default, we should probably be the ones like working on solving them. I hope that you guys have a really good night. I am going to work on my dilemma of my disconnect between snacking and my ultimate reward system and the price that I have to pay with my body, literally in return for that very brief experience of feeling good. I would know too much about this. I just spent like 3 days closing a deal on why it was okay for me to eat an entire bag of Flamin' Hot Fritos. And like, we just wrapped up discussions on that, and clearly the winning side was the consumption of the Flamin' Hot Fritos at the detriment of the arguing case, the arguing people who were like, no. Anyways, I hope that you guys have a really good night, and I know I'm bringing a lot of energy tonight, but like, I don't know, I'm waiting for something really important, and I'm kind of just on edge about that a little bit, and then that's really all. That's all that's going on. I hope that you guys have a good night. Bye.